to the roundup, and it's a big one. A lot of cup games this weekend, no many league games, but elephant in the room, Dak, you know, we need to talk about it straight away, mate. The news has been announced. On you go, my man.
What do you mean?
You know what I mean. The news has been announced, right? So you just tell us what's happening, what's going on, what's happening at Pollok.
No, just that the gaffer's been relieved of his duties, mate, and fucking gutted, mate. Gutted for him, mate. Gutted, really, I'm gutted for him because I know how hard he's worked at it and how much effort and that he's put into it and how passionate he is and his attention to detail and that. So I'm gutted, mate. It's a hard one the day to day this show, mate, because it's still very raw, mate.
Well, that's saying it's Monday, the news, Monday afternoon. This hasn't been announced until Monday night, but obviously it's Tuesday now, so you've got training the night. Obviously, you don't really know what's happening yourself, other than Murdie's no there, and there's not a great deal to know what's going on.
I just know that we've taken to basically go in tomorrow and take training. To be fair to Murdy, he was really brilliant with that. He was like, I expect you to go and take training tomorrow and that. I've got no issues with that. So, but to be honest with you, I've not really heard much apart for that. So I think training the night will be interesting to see what comes of it because I don't know much, mate, what's happening. I just know that the gaffer's unfortunately lost his job and then we just need to take it for there and see what the script is, mate. But no, I'm sick, mate. I'm gutted, mate, know what I mean?
Aye. So see what comes out. I'm sure in the next few days or the next week, we'll know a lot more about what's going on. But we'll get in there, mate. We'll not dwell on it too much because I know it's.
And I don't want to sit here and I could talk about it all day and say so many things and that. But what I want to say is Murdy's son is a great guy, mate. He was brilliant for me. He gave me an unbelievable opportunity to go to a top club, mate. And I've loved. I'll be honest with you, I've loved every minute of it. I love the players. I've loved the surroundings. I've loved the actual being about Pollok and stuff like that. So it's a difficult one for me because obviously the gaffer, I'm devastated for him, but at the same time, all our futures are up in the air now, and we don't really know what the future will hold because obviously a new manager's going to come in and they're going to bring their own people in and stuff. And is there a place here for you? But even if that is, do you want to still stay involved when you're no part of the original by staff that you were away and stuff? So there's a lot of mixed emotions, mate, and it's hard to take. But one thing's for sure, man, the boys, man, I love the boys to bits in that dressing room, and it'll be good to see them tomorrow. But at the same time, man, it'll be gutted not to have Murdy alongside us in there, mate.
No, definitely, mate. Right, we'll get ourselves into this. West of Scotland Football League Cup, formerly the Cadoc Cup. On Friday night, we had the preliminary round, BSC 2, Harmony 1. On Saturday, in the first round, we had Arthurlie 1, Cowan 4, Ashfield 4, Lugar 1, Talbot 4, Muirkirk 1, Bonnet 2, Kilsyth Athletic 4, Campbelltown 0, Gartcairn 2, Carluke 3, Fanart 3, 540 Fanart, and penalties. Cumbernauld 6, St Peters 0, Eglinton 0, Clydebank 14, Girvan 0, Rossvale 1, Glenafton 2, Glenvale 1. Then I've went a bit all over the place alphabetically, so I've lost that. But Mabel 1B 4, Newmains 0, The Rock 2, Meda 0, Cumnock 1, Largs 1, Hurlford 3, Port Glasgow 1, Yoker 2, Renfrew 3, 0, Saltcoats 1, Kilburnie 4, Pollok 1, St Cadoc's 3, Larkhall 1, Drumchapel 7, Maryhill 1, Glencairn 4, Thorn 4, The Ants 1, Troon 4, Perthshire 2, Petershill 2, Forth 2, 9-8 to 4 from penalties, West Park 4, The Bens 3, Whitlets 1, Blantyre 2, Wishaw 1, Kellow 1, 4-3 to Kellow penalties, and Shots 2, Ardrossan 1. So the game that has led to what's happened today. St Cadoc's 3, Pollok 1, you were 1 up, lasted a minute just before half time, and then they scored right back. And then scored 2 late goals. I know you weren't there, you were working on Saturday, but what was the chat bit?
Obviously, it's not been good enough. is it not? It's Pollok going out the cup, you know what I mean? But listen, take nothing away from St Cadoc, you know what I mean? That was always going to be a really, really difficult game. We know, and we've spoke a lot on the show about the squad that St Cadoc have got, and the players have got there, and they've came and got a really good result, and by everything that I've heard, they were well worth their win. You know what I mean? It's hard the new in it to sit and talk about games and all that when I know what's happened after it. Do you know what I mean? But I think what has to be said is you need to give credit to the opposition, and when the opposition come and they play well and they deserve the victory. And I think that the goal when we've scored and went 1-0, if you'd have kept that at half time, it might have been a wee bit different. But the fact is, they've ended up equalising quite quick after it, and then 2 goals towards the end. But again, I think from what I've heard and seen, we didn't really create much again. So, it's a tough one, but well done to St Cadocs, and they're through to the next round, and they're a good side, and Doyle, and it's a great result for him and his players. And for us, it's the disappointment. That's the disappointment of getting out the cup. Do you know what I mean? It's the West. It's the prestige. You want to do well in it, so it's a tough one to take for us, and we know kind of what's happened off the back of it now, but we just need to dust ourselves down, PG. You know what I mean? There's no doubt, man. The players in that dressing room, it's just a wee sticky patch, but there's no bad players there, mate. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. I think the players have got to take a lot of responsibility for what's happened as well. I appreciate that it's a whole picture and everybody's involved. Murdie's always going to take the flak for being the manager. But I was at the Annan game. I've not obviously seen a huge amount of Pollok this year. I was at the Annan game. Yous were excellent. For 70 minutes, yous were fantastic. Brilliant performance. So there's quality there. But these players have let him down as well, you know what I mean? And that's the way it always goes. The manager kind of takes a can for it, but the boys haven't done well enough because there's far too much quality in that dressing room to be sitting 8th in the league and knocked out the cup half. Granted, St Cadocs are in everything. They're a Premier League team in their quality, but a team in the lower league. I'm not wanting for your slaughter players because I think it's a very good side you've got, but I think the boys have got to have a wee look at themselves as well because that isn't good enough.
One thing about the players in the Pollok dressing room is, man, they're an honest bunch. Not, I mean, I think that they would be the first to admit that they're not maybe performed at their top level because, as you say, they've shown in snippets like for 20 minutes against Glenafton, we were absolutely unplayable. Go 3-0 up in 20 minutes. Then Annan game for 70 minutes, we've been excellent. Petershill for the last 20 minutes. So in spells, we can show how good we really are. Let's just try to prolong that to a longer periods of a game, but they'll be honest, but see when somebody when a manager loses his job, we all need to look at ourselves. You know what I mean? The coaching staff, the players, even the backroom staff committee. If we all done everything we could to help assist them as best as and I think that I always take ownership. Do you know what I mean? I feel gutted. I feel part responsible as well because I'm part of that team, mate, and I would love it to be a different situation, mate. But we all need to take responsibility. But at the end of the day, the most important thing then for there is the club, and the club need to get back to winning games of football. And let's hope that they can do that, and we can do that. It's hard because I'm still at the club. You know what I mean? So I can't. It's not as if I'm not shying away for the fact. You know what I mean? And I don't want this to be the Pollok show or the Murdie that and all that show, but at the same time, there's no disputing, man. They players are quality, and that club is in a whole is unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? I'm loved every minute at it. Do you know what I mean? So it's hard because I'm still technically there.
Yep. We'll move on to what game will we go with? Big shout out West Park, your former youth club. Yeah, against the Bens. That's a fantastic result. The Bens, having a really, really poor season. There's a lot more. Again, it's another team where there's a lot more quality in that dressing room than what they're showing. Yeah. For West Park, that's a fantastic result. That's a team 3 leagues above you. You've went 10-4 goals off them. That's honestly an excellent result.
Brilliant result for West Park. And did I think they would win it? I think that I've always thought the Bens would maybe have just had a wee bit too much for them, but take my hat off to them. it's a great result for West Part, and as again it shows you that we have spoke about it. The Division 4 clubs gave good account of themselves this weekend.
Apart from St Peters, everybody did, aye.
Aye, in Eglinton. But I think that what a result, mate. And I think it suits because they play in the Astro and that and all, do you know what I mean? And they've got quality players there. And listen, man, West Park were advertising looking for a goalie a few weeks ago, so I could be that man now again.
Might regressing back into being a player.
Maybe, man. I'll need to have one more shot at playing. But what a result. But I'd say people will see that as a giant killing, but it just shows you the quality of West Park. And they're one of the informed teams in the setup, never mind just Division 4, mate. They're going really well.
Right. Another team in Division 4 we'll touch on before moving on is Clyde, who are just flying in, beating Bonneton 4-2. After Bonneton having a couple of good results of late, Clyde go down to Ayrshire and play them, beat them 4-2, quite convincingly it seems. That's another top result for him.
Aye, 2 late goals. Brilliant. Just shows you again. And that had a suited him going down to the Astro as well, because they play on Astro. But great result for Bailey, obviously. Me talking about him steaming last week. Must have had a good...
He must have trashed one after that.
I need to apologise to him, mate. That much has happened. I'm forgetting my last show. I was fucking steaming. I'm mortified, mate. But no cans a day unless it's... I want a bag of 6 cans and just want Murdie back, mate. But no, I'm just... what a result for them, mate. 2 late goals. They've won the game. Confidence is flying. They're not just staying the business in the league, mate. They're also having really good success in the cup so far. So I can't praise them enough doing the work that they're doing.
No, it's a fantastic result. It's a team that I really like you to see them because they've been doing so well. The team we spoke about last week, I don't know if you remember it, but Glenafton playing Glenvale. I've not seen this announced on Twitter or anything. I seen it on Facebook that John Kelly was away for Glenvale.
All right.
I've not really heard much about it, so I don't know whether that's actually but I did see that he was away for Glenvale. So that's whoever, if it's John still being there, whoever's taking it, that's a really good result for Glenvale. Going down to Glenafton. Glenvale are what? I can't remember, there's 70 odd teams in the setup now. They're Bolton playing Glenafton. Glenafton getting the win, which is ultimately all that matters. But for me, that's another poor result for Glenafton, who are in a string of poor results. You shake your head, mate. Beating the worst team in the setup 2-1 at home is
I agree, because seeing a cup competition, mate, it's not about how you play, mate. It's about getting through the rounds, mate. So, unfortunately, on this occasion, I'm going to disagree with you because there's many a team in the competition that would rather have played poorly and still went through. It's all about being in the hat for the next round. They've kept a clean sheet. They've won the game 2-0. Probably
2-1 it was.
2-1 was it? I thought they kept a clean sheet. Doesn't matter. They won. They're through, mate, and I think that's...
It does matter. It does matter.
It's an A1 situation. It's an A1 situation for Glenafton because if you go and win convincingly, everybody goes, so you shouldn't, and you win 2-1, and people, a win's a win, and they're through, mate, in my opinion, but that is just in my opinion.
Ultimately, that's what I'm saying. Ultimately, getting through, that's all that matters. And then
poor results, getting beaten, getting put out of the competition, no winning a game.
No, that's a poor result. That's a poor result.
You're steaming. You're on a strong board today.
Oh, mate, you fucking still sitting on a fence, you shite bag.
I'm still sitting on the fence.
That's not a good result, right? They've won. That's what they needed to do, right? And they're through. But when you've been...
See the day odd days, don't start your nonsense,
honestly,
boy.
Man, just don't continue your nonsense. Right. We'll move on to a team who go and do what a good team should do. Take 14 off your opposition. That's a sore one for Eglinton. Hopefully that doesn't impact them too much. Clyde Bank have obviously turned up, been on fire, played on Colwinning's Park. Hopefully Eglinton, it's just they see it as a blip and they just bounce back because they've been picking up recently. They've been doing quite well in the 4th division, and that is a sore one for them to take.
Aye, sore, mate. But Clydebank have got really good options in the forward area, mate. They've got good firepower. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't matter who they play. And to be honest with you, they
that was a welcome result for them. Do you know what I mean? Because they had a point couple of weeks, so that's a good one for the confidence. But see what I do love, man, about Eglinton, man. I think I've seen a few tweets in that, and they're really upbeat. And I think that they do stick to their principles and they try and play. I know it's no nice and it's a hard one to take, but I tell you what, you can't fault them for effort and what to try and that's a no-brainer. That's a difficult one because you're not going to expect a team like Eglinton, just new to the setup, to go and compete with Clyde Bank. Do you know what I mean? And what they have at their resources. So, it's a right so one, but fair play to Clyde Bank, man. See to go and score 14 goals in any game, man. You really need to be on it, man, for going in the forward areas and really thing in front of goal. Do you know what I mean? You need to be prolific in front of goal, and they've done that and scoring 14 goals. I think I seen somewhere that's now one of the biggest ever wins.
I think you're right. See what you're saying with Eglinton, where they stick to the principles. See if you do that, you will get better. You'll be able to bring in better players eventually. That won't happen. You might maybe get the odd doing, but that won't happen. That's something first year. I think you've hit the nail on the head. That first year and all that. They stick to their principles. They'll see them all right. Premier League teams going head to head. Two teams are flying now. Pollok getting the 1-0 win away to the Meda. That's a really good result for them because the Meda have been doing really well.
Aye. Meda were flying. Meda will be happy, but not happy because you're never happy losing a game of football, and especially in the cup. But they've been putting a great run together in the league, and that's probably the bread and butter and the most important thing. But you always welcome a good cup run, and it's a great result for coming up. Go down there and keep a clean sheet and win the game. And seen Gint's made a few changes to the team that played against us on the Wednesday. But I knew that would be a tight game, and Cumnock have come out and tapped big boy with getting the goal. So no, well done to Cumnock. They're having a good season, and then the next round of the cup, and the Meda will not be too downbeat because in George as well get well soon. George and all after these ops, so it's but their focus is on that league and their form in the league. They've got themselves into a right good position, and I think they were like five wins in the bounce or something in the league. You know what I mean? So they've still get that run going. Do you know what I mean? Because that was a cup game, so they've still got that there intact. So they'll just move on to the next league game.
We'll touch on a couple more results before moving on to the league action. Petershill drawn with fourth win in penalties. Up at Petershill, that's another poor result for them, just to add to the kind of form that they're on. We mentioned that they'd kind of been looking like they were starting to get a wee touch better, so it's another sore one for them, but congratulations to fourth. That's a really solid result for them.
Aye, good result. It's fourth have shown that they're more than capable, do you know what I mean? In beating teams, and that's brilliant for the confidence. And as you say, when you get to the penalties, it's always a bit of a lottery. But even to go to 9-8, you said on penalties, man, it's exciting stuff. Do you know what I mean? Probably no good for the fans and the management of both teams, but for all the penalties and that as well, it's exciting for the neutral. But aye, well done to fourth. People say it's a scalp. Do you know what I mean? But they've done really well. But Petershill were only like they were 1-0 up against Darvel the week before and pushed them away, and Darvel needed two great strikes to win the game. So I'd say they are showing a lot of fight and grit, and they're looking to churn out results. You know what I mean? So I don't think they're a million miles away, mate. I think that the new short-term management team or whatever it is, interim or whatever, they have made an impression in there.
Aye. The final result I'll touch on, another All Premier League clash. Cowan beating Ardeer 4-1 after taking an absolute doing after Talbot during the week. That's exactly what Goms have been looking for to bounce back. Obviously, Palmer and Ireland have been quite disappointed after two good results against Rob Roy in a row. But that's a solid win for Cowan and what they needed.
Aye, 3-0 up, mate, in the first 15
seen the highlights. It was 4-0 after 40 minutes.
Aye, the 3 goals in the first 15 minutes is just absolute knock the stuffing out of Arthur, do you know what I mean? And that's what you want in a cup game, because it gives you that good cushion, then you can go and play, make it very difficult for the opposition. But
It's a really impressive one for winning, especially when we're talking about how well Arthur had been going about their business of late. Again, Palmer will be the same. He'll be gutted about getting out the cup, but it's a cup game. He can focus on the league, and the main thing is league business. And also for them, mate, we are in Neilston just signed a deal. He's to go in January. He's gone to Queen's Park, mate. Full-time deal.
Congratulations, Tim. Well done.
Full-time deal. I heard he'd been in training with him and that. And he's earned himself a deal. So once the end of December, he's joining them. So hopefully he can make the same impression that we Scotty Williamson's done and go and do really well. So that was well done to Arthur and that and all, because they've obviously looked after him well, coached him well, and now he's making the step up to Queen's Park and full-time football. So many congrats to him. But well done winning on that, Gorms, and winning. It's a brilliant result for them in the cup.
Moving on to league action now. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 games across all the leagues. In the Premier League, Darvel 4, Rob Roy 3. Darvel back to winning ways after a loss in the last game. I think they needed that, obviously, to kind of give themselves that wee cushion. Now they're sitting 3 points clear of the Meda at top, but the Meda have got a game in hand. And I've just been interrupted. What do you want? She wants ice cream. Give a minute, she wants ice cream.
Oh, yes.
Because she's obviously so sick when she gets sent home to school today. She needs to go. She must sent home to school. She's obviously really unwell. So, Darvel beating Rob Roy 2-1. 4-3.
Did you get ice cream at that time?
Fridge is right beside us.
Oh, right. Any strong one there?
No, mate, I've just got some Coronas. I've got some Aldi, what is it?
Brita Amaretti or something?
No, I've got Steinhauser. There's some Steinhausers in there.
Aye, because you're a German tanker, you're a chick.
Aye, that's it, mate, aye. Right, so, what's your view on that game?
Who were we talking?
Darvel and Rob Roy.
No, see, Darvel, man. Darvel probably, and they've lost their last game to Largs during the week, obviously, because we didn't do a midweek round-up, so it was really important for them to bounce back with 3 points, and it was always going to be a tough game because Rob Roy are a good young side, but champions find a way, don't they? Even when they're not playing, even when you're not playing great, as long as you get that result, because there's going to become a spell where you're flying and everything's happening for you, but it's just picking up 3 points maybe when you're not quite at it, and that's what they've done. I think it was a late goal, was it not? It's won them a game, and
that shows how tight that Premier League is. I was just looking at there. Darvel are 3 points clear, as I said. But see if Rob Roy had won, Rob Roy would have been joint tap with Darvel in the Meda. Granted,
the thing is, it's seen the league, Pollok, Pollok, man. Murdie's lost his job and he's lost the same amount of games as Darvel this season.
I know. That's mad, isn't it?
It's mad, mate. But
it's mad when you look at it like that. Because that is, you've only lost 2 games out of 9. That's not too bad. Obviously, the draws have had an impact, but that's a really good result. That's the thing. I'm talking about Rob Roy. If they win there, they go joint top or second in goal difference. But they've lost 3 out of the last 4 games, is it? 4 out of the last 5 in the league, and you're looking at them potentially still being able to go tap. You know what I mean?
Mad, mate. Never seen it like it, mate. Never seen it like it.
Nah, it's mad. Right, so we're going to move on to Division 1. It's a wee bit of a local derby there, a localish derby. Neilston 1, Johnstone Burgh 2. Both teams really not having a good time right now. That's a huge result for the Burgh, which takes them above Neilston in 8th place. Neilston sitting in 9th.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first win for the Burgh in 6. And they really needed that. Neilston have only won 1 in the last 6 as well. They're having a really shoddy time it.
Aye, that's a big one. Do you know what I mean? Especially winning kind of a local derby. It's just brilliant for the confidence, and I'd imagine the Johnstone Burgh boys will get a good lift for that. And
Neilston, it's not been a great time for them, especially after the start they had. Do you know what I mean? The two teams had really good starts, and it's two teams that we've back to be right up there. And listen, it is still early days. There's a lot of football still to be played, but what the two of them have shown is they can put runs together. But that's a good result for Johnstone Burgh, and I think, did they not play each other at the start of the season, or was that last season? I think.
No, they did. I'm sure they already played each other.
Aye, that's them played each other twice already.
Won that one as well.
I think they won. Did they not win that 1-0 or something?
I think they did win that. Aye.
So, end of the day, it's a great result for Jamie and that, and they'll be delighted with that. And they've got the 3 points on the board, and especially with a lot of teams in cup action, mate, it gives you that chance to just climb up a few places. You know what I mean?
Aye, that was a big one for them. The thing is, they're only 5 points off Gartcairn at the top of the league.
I mean, mate, it's not
Very similar to, but they're also 5 points off a relegation as well. It's another one. It's not quite as tight as the Premier League, but it's still a very tight league.
Yeah.
We'll move on to Division 2 now. Just flying through them now. Ardeer 3, Greenock 0, Craigmark 2, Coast 2. Mentioned it a couple of times. Coast have started to kind of come back into it in the last few weeks, and that's a good result for them because we fucking spoke up Craigmark more than enough here. We think they're a very good side that are doing really well. That is a big result for Coast. Granted, they're not going to win the league, and I doubt they're going to get relegated. But it's a good point from sorry.
Aye, I think to be honest with you, that's Carlo will be about consolidating. But what Carlo does, they'll keep getting better and better. When the time he gets, more time he's got to bring his own players in and work with the players that he's got and put his own ideals across. It still takes a wee bit of time. So to get results right for the start of your reign as managers is always really, really good. You know what I mean? It gets everybody on side early, but they'll keep getting better. So they'll be a tough game for anybody. Craigmark, another one. I know they've lost players. I think they lost Big Boy Boyle, went to that. And is Ryan playing again? I've seen he's been playing.
I've seen him get man of the match last week. Maybe.
Has he always been playing, or has he just jinxed his?
I think
I know Ryan's a right good player, but I just didn't know if they're maybe struggling with injuries or have players been available that he's had to end up dusting the boots off and playing. I don't know the ins and outs yet, or if he's always been playing or that, but just of late I've kind of seen his name popping up a wee bit more. Do you know what I mean? So, but listen, Craigmark have got good players, mate, and they'll be getting the results soon, mate.
Aye, that's the thing is, I'm under the impression he's not been playing all the time. Maybe he has been, but I don't think it's the best thing for your manager to be playing because I think it detracts a bit away from when they're at the side. But
Steve, you've got
that he's a good player, so.
I see when that's what you've got a backroom staff there, people you trust, not I mean, because it means if he plays, he's still got people at the side that you trust, and if you're leading by example and getting man of the matches and you're the manager, man, then you should be setting an example to the players. But I agree as well, you do miss having that wee bit, your manager on the side, man, to turn to and give you that bit of guidance. But at the end of the day, there's no better guidance sometimes when he's on the park pulling you about, telling you what to do. But I just didn't know if they're maybe struggling with players a wee bit.
The other result, 3-0 for Ardeer against Greenock. 3 wins in the bounce for Ardeer. Really, really doing well the now. Moved himself up into 9th place. Only won 5 out of 10. Three of them are the last 3 games. So it's a good turn for him because obviously we both like Sean and we don't really hide it that we've got a wee soft spot for Ardeer because of that. So I'm quite pleased to see him doing well. But on the side, I'm disappointed with my big mate Nixon because he's in a really tough time. He's got a really young group of boys there. And he's trying to kind of, what we spoke about a wee bit with Eglinton, he's trying to play a certain way. He's sticking to his principles and he knows it's going to be tough, but I think he's just got to keep plugging away with it.
I think for Ardeer, it's brilliant to see him hitting a wee bit of form. And as you say about Sean, you're bang on what you're saying about Sean. And for him, it'll be brilliant and I'll keep him clean sheets because I know that at the start they were maybe conceding far too many goals. So to be getting that solid base going again, especially after Mick Cowie went to Kilburn and all.
Yeah,
he's a big captain and presence at centre half for them. So it's nice for them to get clean sheets after his departure. But I've spoke to Derek, who's Nixon's assistant,
and he's like at times they're scratching their head, but they're playing a nice brand of football and they're sticking to their principles. And I think they're during games, and I'm not saying that this was against Ardeer, but they're playing really well for long spells of the game, and it's maybe just a wee bit of naivety or just struggling to deal with teams playing a certain way, and it's catching them out. And that's all part of the learning process. Unfortunately, this level can be quite cutthroat. Do you know what I mean? And you can play all the nice football and that, but if you're getting away goals and no defending strong, then you're unfortunately not going to win games. But take my hat off to them; they've got a really young team and they're doing good work down there, and they're probably knocking the ball about nice, and I think their work rate and all that will be really good to watch with the young boys. But it's just getting that. It's hard. It's hard streetwise in it on the part, but you can only get that with playing games. So the main thing I think for Greenock this season will be staying the league, and all these boys are going to be better for the experience, and they're going to be that wee bit wider next year when it comes to dealing with teams that are maybe more direct, dealing with teams that have got different kind of threats and stuff like that. So a learning curve, mate. But the main thing is they stay in the league, and I do believe they've got the right people there on the job, and they're trying to do the right things, mate. So I'm hoping that it takes a wee turn for the better. I hope they get a wee result, man. I'd like to see them getting a wee result there the next week or two.
I think you're right. They're so young that see if they can stay together for the next 3 or 4 years. It's like you said, you'll learn that streetwiseness, and you're a couple of years older. You're maybe 70 or 80 games more at this level under your belt. But moving on to Division 3, Irvine Vicks 2, Vale Clyde 2, Lanark 2, Bellshill 1, Lesmahago 4, Royal Albert 0. Obviously, the top end of the table clash. Irvine Vicks 2, Vale Clyde 2. Share the spoils for two good sides. I don't know really. Obviously, having seen the game, I've not seen the highlights of it neither. But it seems like a well contested match.
Aye. It's one of them minutes with teams that are up there in it. It cancels each other out. Nobody wants to lose the game in the end. You know what I mean? And then both teams then take a share of the spoils and move on.
Aye, I think that they're probably both no too disappointed to lose any ground on each other. Vale Clyde are still a point off Ardrossan at the top with 2 games in hand. Irvine Vicks are 3 points off the top with 3 games in hand. So I'd imagine Vale Clyde will probably be the happier one with that, getting away down to Irvine, getting a draw and no losing. Another team up the top, Lanark, beating Bellshill 2-1. Bellshill having a really tough season, but Lanark getting a big 3 points and keeping themselves within touching distance of Ardrossan at the top of the table.
That's what it is. It's, as I said earlier, it's taking advantage of teams with cup games, and then 2 of the teams that were up there with them both playing each other, so something was going to give, and it has. Do you know what I mean? So they've capitalised on that, and they've took care of their own business and get 3 points, and they just keep plodding on and keeping themselves up in that pack at the top of the league.
The final game, Lesmahago 4-0. Lesmahago had that great start and a wee shaky spell. We're starting to pick up some wins now. Royal Albert, it's been another really tough season for them, losing 10 out of 12. It's not really much to say for me on that. I think that Lesmahago have done what they've had today. They're only 3 points off Ardrossan with a game in hand, and they're sitting in 7th in the league as well. You know what I mean? It's ridiculously tight.
They're hanging on in there, do you know what I mean? Lesmahago, and there's loads and loads of big games to come. It's a big league with lots of games, so I don't think that there's anything going to be decided anytime soon. Do you know what I mean? All these teams have still to play each other, but feel for Royal Albert, man. There's good people down there, and it's always hard. Do you know what I mean? It's resources wise, what you can offer players and that, and all. It's very difficult.
It's tough. I think the fact that, because obviously it's been well documented in the last couple of years how it's just good that they're still gone as a club after some of the stuff that's happened. And I know we spoke about it a lot last year, where the conferences will help teams find their levels and that. Royal Albert, Saltcoats, New Mains are all kind of in that position where they're probably Division 4 level. When they start getting in, you'll not see them getting beat every single week. They've been able to throw in the odd win and odd draw in that, but it's still maybe just a wee bridge too far for the three of them now as well. And I think next season will be better for them again. But that's the bonus, I suppose, of having so many tiers in the setup now, is that you do eventually find where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
We'll move on. Final game is Easterhouse 3, Rossvale 1 in Division 4. Easterhouse, after a really shaky start, to be expected, I suppose, they're just new into the setup. That's them picking up some points now. They've won 3 out of the last 3 and won, I think they've only lost 1 out of the last 6. So it's a kind of really good wee run for them now.
I did say, I think that Mark just, it was a wee bit of time, because you take the job a wee bit later on, and other teams are that wee bit maybe more prepped than you. They've got players in, and then it's hard to get players as well because they've committed to clubs. So what you'll find is players will become available through different reasons. They're either not enjoying it at other clubs, or they're maybe wanting away or not getting much game time, and he knows a lot of players and he's able to tap into that. And as I say, they'll keep getting better as the season goes on.
It's your turn now.
Wee signal, it's like a wee referee whistle. Yeah. So stay there. Right, I'm on the phone. Aye, so they'll get better as it goes along, mate.
I actually just realised looking at the league table, there was one result I forgot to mention in the West of Scotland that was a really big one, was the Thorn beating the Ants 4-1. A huge result for them. We said how well they've picked up the last few weeks. The Ants are obviously a very difficult team to beat. Not many teams will take 4 off the Ants. So that was a great result for them.
It's hard because there's other results in the cup and all.
It's
just far too many.
28 games to get through in the cup, so just too much.
But that is some result for Thorn, because I think we've been repeating ourselves a lot of late about how well the Ants had been playing and the results and the run they'd been putting together. But that's a tremendous result for the Thorn, and it shows you how far that they've come in, man. So they're really showing the promise that we were all speaking about, and they're doing really well. Barry and that are doing a good job down there, and I think that they're still worth watching in that Division 4.
I think that it's not done yet. But that'll be us for another week. Apologies, it's a day late, but I hope you all have a good week. And been back. I'm going down to Manchester on Wednesday for the Football Content Awards. So wishes luck.
Aye, Football Content Awards. We're up for the best non-league podcast in the UK, the only Scottish representative, which is no bad going. It's our second year we've been in the run for it, but let's hope that we can. I don't know if they're placing people this year. I don't know.
I don't know, mate. I'm just looking forward to it.
Listen, second and third are nothing. It's all about winning, innit?
It's all about getting past. That's what it's all about. A night away for the wins. Don't reach there and use a wee barely handle when I'm trying to sleep, but
I don't think you'd be able to handle my scandal, mate. I'm telling you.
I don't think I can handle it. Right. Thanks for watching. Have a good week.
Take care, everybody.